This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222. So checking embryos let's say, as you know, we've had 2 women recently in our clinic at Life, 44 years of age, who produced 1 embryo. But because they had multiple failures in the past, they decided to test the embryos. The odds in a 44-year-old of a normal embryo is less than 10%. In both cases, they were normal. We were gobsmacked. One's pregnant and one we're waiting for the outcome. So yeah, life is not without hope. Because pregnancy rates in 44-year-olds, if we don't test, are less than 5%. Once you put a new euploid embryo, a genetically normal embryo, back into a 44-year-old, it jumps to 50% straight off. But you've got to be lucky to get that right embryo. So that's basic genetic testing of embryos. There are other testing of embryos that we do when we discover genetic diseases or the potential for a genetic disease in an embryo, which is why we recommend mutation screening in both parents. And so there are more sophisticated ways of ensuring that those abnormalities are not carried into the baby. So pre-implantation genetic testing, it's on the rise. How far it will go is still debatable. And in the background, there's lots of work going on at looking ways of trying to measure that abnormality rate without actually taking a biopsy from the embryo and being able to do it more quickly. So there's a Monash technique developed in Monash using laser beams and the testing of the metabolic activity of an embryo by reading the reflections of the cells of the embryo. And that's showing some promise. It picks about 85%, at least in mouse embryos, of genetically normal ones. Other things that have been tried is using the fluid around the embryo as it's cultured and checking that out. And again, that's got about an 85% sensitivity rate. So you wouldn't throw embryos out on the basis of it, but it may be helpful to help select the best embryo to put back first. So that's where the world is going, and I suspect that non-invasive methodologies are going to improve, and we will end up having a pretty good idea if we're putting back a normal embryo or not.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.